Welcome, Internet, to The Lead Word. I am your host, Chad Bauman. Unfortunately, Trey Daubert could not join us this week, so luckily, Brian Tan, the Tanimal himself, able to fill in for us tonight. Last minute, all kinds of jumbled up mess with our scheduling, but I put out the request. Tan was there. And also, we have joining us for the first time ever, Brandon White. He will be our new producer. Obviously, our last producer, it didn't work out. If you watched last week's episode, if you watched That's Some Cheese, mentioned on the Tandemonium Sports Show as well. Dave, wherever you are, sorry, bud. Guys, how's it going this week?
I'm pretty heated right now. I'm pretty fired up right now. I'm fired up for a couple of reasons. Fired up because you're trying to get me riled up before we started recording, but I'm pretty riled up with what's going on with the intern class and what's going on, because Krieger and I said it before on my show, Krieger and I interviewing, talking to these guys, trying to get these things going on, and things ain't clicking, and it's like everyone wants to sit there and say, oh, Trey's being so toxic. I'd be pissed too. And after a while of getting pissed off and you sit there and you talk about things so you're blue in the face and folks do the exact damn opposite, dude, eventually you're going to have to start tearing into folks. I mean, he may do things differently than the way I might do it, but at the end of the day, sometimes you got to throw fire at a mofo. So sometimes you have to hit him with that old NWA wrestling fireball to the face.
Shake things up every once in a while. I feel you, Brian.
Absolutely. Folks, sometimes folks got to know that if they screw up, they're going to get called out.
Brandon, your first time here being the producer for the show.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, really. This is my first day here, and my team is 3-0, so I just don't have a care in the world at this point.
I'm glad your team is 3-0. My team's falling down the toilet here. Brandon, we will come back to you a little bit later. I do have some questions to ask you to introduce you to the audience, but I want to jump into the show here because
I've already got to meet with HR too. You got to meet with HR too.
Yeah, I've already kept you waiting long enough just to get this recording done. And Brian, I'm assuming you came home from work, because when I asked you to be a guest, you said you had just got home. So I'm sure you want to relax after,
I signed out of work to go back to work, to come home, to come back to work.
Yeah.
I'm always hustling, man. I'm always hustling. I'm all about it.
I want to let you guys go ahead and start your weekend and that way you can enjoy yourselves and maybe get into some trouble. I don't know.
Nah, I'm working all weekend. I work 7 days a week, so I'm all for it, man.
Well, I
love talking sports, but I love talking sports.
I was gonna say, Brian, you're older than me, so your trouble days are out and behind you. Brandon, you're still in college, so your trouble getting in 2 days are probably right in front of you. So
just starting.
Yeah. So
that's why I sort of look at the young guys. I just sort of shake my head and be like, "Yep, enjoy it while it lasts." Because next thing you know, you're going to get tied down with bills. You lucky.
One quick tangent before we actually get into the meat and bones of the show here, Brian. At what point do you actually realize that you're old? Because for me, I keep forgetting that I'm getting older. Like sometimes I swear to God, like I have to remind myself, dude, you're not 20 anymore. Like I'll be sitting there and I'm just like, usually when I start hanging around my brother, like he says something, I'm just like, what the fuck does that mean?
Well, see, I don't see myself as getting old because I found the fountain of youth, but I notice that I'm older when I look in the mirror and I see the gray in the beard.
Oh, okay.
Or if somebody says or does something and I feel that little bit of the old me start to kick in the back of my head where it turned into a confrontation. And instead I just sort of shake my head and keep going, be like, yeah, you're too dumb to worry about. It's like, Brian 20 years ago would have whooped your ass. Brian now is just going to walk away because
it is such an odd feeling. Like I constantly have to remind myself, dude, you are closer to 30 than you are to 20. You need to calm down.
Dude, I'm closer to 30 than I am to I'm closer to 30 than I am to 20, and I'm in my 40s. But
So,
you know, it's all good. It's all good though. 42 is the new 21. Is the way I see it.
that's probably the first of many tangents. No.
Well, you
play
know
on
what?
words
You
intended.
can actually say that I'm. You know what though? What we call in the business is a segue, because the first game that you wanted to talk about, me and TB12, we're doing things the exact same, man. TB12 saying that he's going to play into his
So he's
50s.
50. Yeah.
And I'm gonna be young until I'm 90. So
Well, we do have one thing to go over before we get
okay,
into the
all right.
into the previews. We got to go
Into
over
the
the Thursday night
We
game.
got to go over Thursday night. Yeah, I just started. You watched half the game.
I did.
I sort of caught the highlights because I had so much going on this week.
To be fair, I did not
To be
think
fair,
that I did not think that the Bengals were going to come back, but
To be fair.
it was garbage football. The best thing about these two teams right now are their quarterbacks. They got two young upcoming quarterbacks. Burrow maybe going to crack the top 10 list this year. I don't know, but
Well,
Trevor
you know
Lawrence
that
might
the
be there soon enough,
NFL
too.
the NFL has already pegged Joe Burrow as an up and comer. You know how I know that? When Melvin Ingram III got penalized for a roughing the passer call that was not a roughing the passer call. When plays like that happen, that's how you know which quarterback is going to be among that upper echelon. Like, no one can hit Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
No one can hit Joe Burrow anymore after Chase Young hit him.
That hit. If I could be wrong here, but I might be misremembering it. But wasn't there, even if it might have been incidental, but wasn't there some contact to the helmet, and that's why they threw the flag?
With Melvin Ingram
Melvin
didn't even
Gordon?
hit him.
Melvin Ingram.
Melvin Ingram hit him in the chest.
Then
He
I
was hit in
might
the
be
chest.
I may be misremembering.
They just they flagged him for roughing the passer because, like I said, Joe Burrow. Basically, they're gonna. This is the way the quarterback echelon is gonna look in this generation of quarterbacks. All right, you ready? You got Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, and then you're gonna have Joe Burrow, and you're gonna have Trevor Lawrence. That's your big five right there.
You're not throwing Herbert in there?
Herbert is going to be outside looking like he's going to be the guy where when you mention the great quarterbacks of the 1984 draft class, you got Elway, you got Marino, you got Jim Kelly, and then you got Bernie Kosar. Bernie Kosar, who's just as talented, but just isn't mentioned in that same light. That's going to be Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's going to be an amazing quarterback, but he's not going to be mentioned in like Derek Carr is a good quarterback, but he's never going to be mentioned in the same vein as Aaron Rodgers. He's never going to be mentioned in the same vein as anybody in his generational class. He's just not.
That's
no
fair.
matter how good he is.
That's fair. But
So
back to the game, though. I mean, the Jaguars, they got up 14-0, but even watching them go up 14-0, for me, it felt like pulling teeth. Like it was like, okay, you jumped out to a big lead, but it was like, this is hard to watch. The football for me just was bad. I don't know if you felt the same. Well, you said you watched the highlights, but
I watched the highlights. Here's what I saw. And from what they're showing in these highlights, from what I'm seeing is what they showed in the highlights is that this Jaguars offensive line, their only purpose in life is to keep Trevor Lawrence's jersey clean. That is it. So what happens when that happens?
That should be every
Right.
offensive line's job, to be fair.
Absolutely, to be fair. Yeah. But the thing is that but from what I'm seeing of the throws that Trevor Lawrence was making, it's that it's being done, but it's going to be at the expense of the running game, which basically means that Trevor Lawrence is going to have to carry this entire team by himself. him and his receivers are going to have to carry this entire team. And honestly, I don't see Urban Meyer being around for the long haul. If he doesn't leave for a head coaching job back in college football this season, it's going to happen next season, because his ego is not going to allow him to be on a losing team like this. It's just not. He's not used to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, he had that quote in Brandon, first ever assignment as a producer here. I'm going to ask you to pull up the exact quote, but it was something to the effect of, every game in the NFL is like playing Alabama.
Right. And that's the thing. He isn't going to be able to handle being on a losing team. He's just not. Now, the Jaguars as an organization, I think, are in a good spot, because Trevor Lawrence, from what I'm seeing so far, we're 1 month into this new season. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the deal. He's going to be the real deal. But he's going to have a real good coach, pro-level coach on those sidelines. Anyone that they bring in, I seriously think Trevor Lawrence is going to get the treatment that Aaron Rodgers wants in Green Bay. Trevor Lawrence is going to have a say-so in who they bring in.
Well, and I think last night, I'm not talking about like coaching or anything, on Thursday, I should say. No, yeah I was right.
Technically last night.
That is last night. Yeah. That's the overnight effect. I work overnight, so like it's like I can never tell what the exact day was.
I remember what that's like. I did it for quite a few years. I understand. I've been
so I mean, looking at looking at Trevor Lawrence, I mean, the first couple of games, like, I mean, it was clear rookie growing pains. Like, he didn't play well against the Texans. I think last week he was absolute garbage last week. But this week,
he's getting used to it. He's getting used to the fact that he's getting used to the speed of the game. And some of those 3 touchdowns, man, some of those dimes, he was dropping some dimes from what I'm seeing.
Well, I was going to say that, playing a team that's more closely matched to the level of the talent around him, he looked good.
Yeah. I mean,
for about a half. Yeah, for about a half.
Well, the one thing that Trevor Lawrence is going to have to realize, and this is why I'm also saying that Urban Meyer isn't going to be around for the long haul. You got to understand, kid, they're going to adjust to you. The good teams adjust. And they adjusted to Trevor Lawrence. Now, he still was able to put on a good show. But yeah, man, these Bengals, when do we stop trashing the Bengals and start accepting that maybe they might be pretty good? Like, honestly, for the AFC North, I see it being an Ohio division, man. I see this, the Steelers and the Ravens aren't going to be, they're not going to be running this AFC North anymore. It's going to be the Bengals and it's going to be the Browns, I think.
Yeah, and Brandon got us the quote, so thanks, Brandon, for that. Every week is like playing Alabama in the NFL. That's it. Everybody's capable of beating everybody in this league. So, I mean, I don't know.
He's trying to go to that.
He could be maybe coming back to college. He's like, you know what? I wasn't.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know how you don't expect the NFL to be hard, but I don't know. Maybe he was expecting it to be a cakewalk.
Because he figured that he was doing so great on the college level. And a lot of these coaches, like Patino, well, not Patino. Who was the guy who went to Jackson would know? The guy that went to Miami, and he realized how hard it was going to be, and he just dipped. He's like, no, I'm done. That's what Urban Meyer's going to do. That's exactly what Urban Meyer's going to do. And
was that Saban, or was he with the
Saban? Yeah, it was Nick Saban.
Or did Saban
Nick
do
Saban.
that with the Saints? No. The guy
Saban did that. I thought Saban did that with the Dolphins. The Saints. That was.
I think the guy that was with the Saints was the he bounced and went to Arkansas or something like that. But yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing that I'm looking at. Joe Burrow, this could be, I don't want to go so far to say that this is Joe Burrow's coming out party, because this is something that we were talking about before we started recording. I'm not going to, like, this is what you're supposed to do. When you're a good team, you're supposed to beat the bad teams. You know, Cincinnati treated their win on Sunday against Pittsburgh like they won the Super Bowl. And for them, it was. For every AFC North team that beats the Steelers, they are going to have swagger as if they won the Super Bowl, because that's their Super Bowl. And what did they do? They turned around on a short week and they handled a bad team. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, let's see what they do next week. And even if they lose next week, I'm trying to look to see who the Bengals play next week.
Green Bay.
They play Green Bay next week.
I had it pulled up from when we were talking before we started recording.
All right. So if they're able, now, are they playing in Cincinnati or are they going to Lambeau?
In Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati. So if they can have one of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL come in and they're still able to beat them and they go 4-1, I think it's time to start giving some serious consideration to the Cincinnati Bungles, because they're no longer the Bungles. They might, these cats might actually have some teeth.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like, you're right. Good teams beat bad teams. That's the way it's going to work. That's the way it's always worked, and that's how it's going to work in the future. But at the same time, you have to look at the quality of the teams as well. It's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. You know, you could be a playoff team with a 10-6, or, well, I guess it would be 10-7 now, a 10-7 record. But, you know, if you played the 2008 Detroit Lions every week, it doesn't matter, you know, because when you get into that playoff and you play an actually competitive team, you know, you're going to lose. So, I mean, you're right. If they come out next week and they don't even, I was going to say hammer, but they could win by a field goal. If they come out and they beat Green Bay, I'll start to maybe think, you know what, I might've been wrong about this Bengals team, but watching how they play.
So you need them to go up against, well, is Green Bay really a quality team though? Because their offensive line is stinking right now. They're missing some key guys on the offensive line. The defense isn't super awesome. Basically, you want to see Joe Burrow go up against Aaron Rodgers and win. At this point, then it's not Cincinnati versus Green Bay. It's Burrow versus Rodgers.
Well, not so much. I mean, they've got, you know, Devontae Adams. They've got
but
Aaron Jones.
If the offensive line is banged up, this is what I've been saying since the draft, and I had my meltdown in the Slack when the Steelers drafted Najee Harris. Nothing against Najee Harris at all. But when you don't put any time, energy, or effort into your offensive line, you could have Joe Montana in his prime. He's going to look like Nick Mullins. He's going to look like Jamarcus Russell. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, for me, again, I think Green Bay's still a pretty good team. Like I said, they got Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, obviously Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they don't have a great offensive line, but they got pieces. David Bakhtiari. I think what's his face? John Runyon, his kid is pretty good. Not great yet, but I think he's pretty good. Their defense, Green Bay's defense is pretty good too. I mean, obviously they fumbled a little bit week 1 against the Saints, but had a pretty good showing against Detroit. So, well,
you know what? I think that week 1 game, Jameis Winston going off for 5 touchdowns, but his stat line wasn't the most gorgeous. I was heralding for the 5 touchdown performance, but no, you're right. I don't even think he cracked 200 yards passing. So maybe.
Like I said, man, if the Bengals can come out and they could, even if they don't beat Green Bay, if they play a good game against Green Bay, I'll give them their credit where their credit is due.
So if they lose to Green Bay, let's just say if this 24-21 score is Green Bay 24, Cincinnati 21, and they're 3-2, are you still ready to say these guys can be legit, or do they have to win? I mean, you said it doesn't matter, but
if they can pull off a 24-21 against Aaron Rodgers, then I would say it's a pretty good thing. That I would probably give them the nod. I'd have to see how they play, but I'd still probably give them the nod.
Okay. So what if they lose by? So if they lose, so at max, 1 touchdown, losing by 1 touchdown. If they lose by 2 scores, then you're kind of like, meh. You're still kind of meh. Right?
I mean, I'd have to see how the game. At that point, I'd have to see how the game played out, because it would.
Okay.
I mean, if Green Bay goes up 28-0, and then they get 2 touchdowns like in garbage time, it's like, okay, like Green Bay stopped playing.
You're trash.
Yeah,
you're
so
trash.
Like, but if it's like if it's like they play Green Bay pretty well, and then in the fourth quarter they started
Aaron Rodgers does
right.
Aaron Rodgers
they started
things.
going for it on 4th down, and they didn't get it, stuff like that, and then just put Green Bay in scoring position. That's a different story, But like I said, we'd have to take a look.
I'm on board with that. I'm just to the point right now where I'm saying, you know what? These Bengals don't look like the same old Bengals to me.
Well,
they don't look like the Bungles anymore.
At least for half of football, they didn't look.
Or at least a half of football. But you know what? Even the bad teams, sometimes, you know what? Sometimes these bad teams, when they're just going out there and they're just playing, and it's just all coming together. This Jaguars team with Trevor Lawrence at the helm, I mean, we could very easily have been saying, all right, the 1-3 Jacksonville Jaguars, how for real are they going to be in a year or two? I mean, honestly, I don't see, like I already said, I already talked about Urban Meyer. I'm not going to beat that dead horse. You know what I would like to see? I'd like to see Eric Bieniemy take over the Jacksonville Jaguars and do in Jacksonville what he was able to do as an offensive coordinator with Patrick Mahomes. I'd like to see him do that with Trevor Lawrence.
Probably not likely unless Urban Meyer really does leave.
He's gonna leave.
I don't think Jacksonville's gonna fire him. If he chooses to leave on his own accord, then yeah, maybe Bieniemy slips in there. But
he's gonna leave.
Anything else on this Thursday night game, Brian, or are we ready to move on to some of these
games? The one thing that I'm not happy with, the one thing that I don't like seeing the franchise quarterback running the football 8 times. The only person, James Robinson had 18 carries for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence ran 8 times, 36 yards and a touchdown. And the next most runs, 2. I don't want to see my franchise quarterback running the ball 8 times in a game.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that.
You don't like to see it, but I mean, I don't know. Everything that maybe Lamar is doing right now, the way offenses are being run now, a lot of those RPOs and option plays in the NFL playbook, that's just, I think that's just a product of the modern NFL.
See, I don't like to see here's the thing. Joe Burrow ran 3 times. He scrambled 3 times. Finish out the day 25-32, 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's what I want out of my starting quarterback. That's what I want out of my franchise guy. I don't want to see him running more than 4 or 5 times. I just don't.
Yeah,
maybe I'm too old school and I'm willing to accept that, but that's just my opinion. I don't want to see my quarterback having to run like that.
I got
because my heart is going to jump in my throat each and every time that he goes to get it's time to get tackled.
Well, you got to get down, got to slide.
Yeah, but the thing is, we saw it when what was it? It was Baltimore and Miami a couple of years ago. Joe Flacco slid, and you see how well that worked out for him.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that out of my quarterback. I just don't. That's why every time Lamar Jackson, he does a 2-step drop, and then he's already tucked the ball and run. If you want to play quarterback, play quarterback. Don't be a running back that throws the ball every so often.
Well, that's just how their offense is built. But let's go ahead and move on, get into these game previews, Brian.
Okay, let's do this.
I'll let you go first since you're the guest. Guests always get first dibs.
But am I really a guest at this point, since this is my second time around here?
Well,
it's cool. I'll take it.
You're still a guest because you're not.
Right.
I mean, if you want to be a mainstay host, we could get like a tripod going, me, you, and Trey. I don't know.
All right. Let's go into my favorite division in all of football. All right. The NFC West.
Best division.
I love the NFC. It is the best division, always competitive. I talked about it all last year about how competitive this division is. And if you took two of these teams out of this division and put them in any other division in the NFL where they're not against each other, those are the teams that are going to be in the playoffs each and every time.
See, that's got to be, you got to be paraphrasing me there, because when me and Trey did our division previews on the show before the season started, I pretty much said the same thing. I said if you took each team in the NFC West and you put them in another division, more than likely they would win that division.
Absolutely, with very few exceptions. But let's talk about the two undefeateds this Sunday, 4:05 game. And I really, really wish that this is one of those times that I really, really wish that the Steelers were playing early and this game was late so I could watch it. The Rams and the Cardinals. I mean, Matthew Stafford is playing the best football that he's played since college because he's finally on a good team. Matter of fact, I think Matthew Stafford's career is probably extended a good 5 to 6 years. All those years wasted and toiling in Detroit is finally being rewarded out in LA. This is a California dream tale, okay? They write stories about this for Hollywood. And then you got Kyler Murray, who is just insanely fun to watch. You got Aaron Donald on the defensive end of the ball for LA. And then you got JJ Watt, who's still a serviceable player, not the player he once was, but still a great player. This is going to be an amazing game. I wish I had a DVR so I could actually record this game and watch it back.
Well, you talk about Stafford, his effect in LA. And Brandon, if I could get you to look this up for me, you don't have to look any farther than Cooper Kupp. Like Cooper Kupp, outside of his injuries, he's been a guy who's, kind of been above average in the NFL, but I mean, this year he's exploded. I mean, he's got to be, if he's got to be like top 5 receiver in the league, maybe touchdowns and yards. I know for a fact he's got to be at least top 5, fantasy points wise. So
right. Look
no further than that. But every wide receiver, tight end, wide receiver for the Rams right now, they got to be having like career years.
Yeah.
Because all they're doing is they're throwing the ball. In LA, they came out last week and they beat the brakes off of the Buccaneers, who last year in the Super Bowl, Kansas City couldn't move the ball. And
right.
and LA comes out and they rip them.
That game right there, that LA Tampa Bay game, in my mind, I think that's going to be the precursor to the NFC Championship game. I really do. I mean, and thanks to producer Brandon for coming up with the stat line for Cooper Kupp. 25 receptions, 367 yards, 5 touchdowns through 3 games already.
That's insane. And they're playing
that is
17 games.
Numbers.
They're playing 17 games. If they were to if he were to somehow have that production through like the rest of the season,
dude,
it would
that's
be crazy.
That's damn near 2,000 receiving yards, over 2,000 receiving yards in a season.
That's a Madden career.
Yeah.
It's
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And the thing is that I think with Matthew Stafford, the one thing that he's learned playing in Detroit is patience. The man just, he knows how to, now that he has an offensive line in front of him that knows what they're doing, he has a real team around him. He knows how to just pick teams apart. And every single bit of tape that I've seen on Stafford so far, the 3 games this season, he's just picking these teams apart.
Well, I think he's always had that ability, but he just didn't have.
Yeah.
He just didn't have the tools or the time to showcase that in Detroit. I mean,
right.
Obviously, Calvin Johnson's a great receiver, but I mean, there's only so much that Calvin.
There's only so much
do.
two guys can do for each. There's only so much that two guys are going to be able to do when they're your entire offense.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Calvin Johnson, there were times where he was getting like triple coverage,
quadruple teamed.
Yeah, I mean, he more often than not, he'd still beat the coverage, but still, like at a certain point, you gotta be like, I can't throw the ball there.
Right. It gets to a point when the towel boy, the water boy, the head cheerleader, and the defensive coordinator's nephew is covering your lead receiver. You might want to slow up throwing toward him.
Yeah, and
because damn.
Maybe a small tangent here, but like, God damn it, Detroit. How do you waste Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson? And fortunately, he stayed in long enough to get traded, but Matthew Stafford too. Like, how do you waste like such premium talent? Like Barry Sanders, like you go back, he never had a quarterback. Never had a quarterback.
All he had was Scott
get the
Mitchell.
quarterback. You get the quarterback and wide receiver fixed, but now you don't have any other kind of players around them. It's like, God damn you, Detroit.
Well, and that's why Barry Sanders didn't end up breaking Walter Payton's record, because he's like, look, I'm not going to keep being the only piece on this team. And it's not like Barry Sanders made so much money that they couldn't afford to go and get somebody. They're just like, nah, this is good. We're good with this.
Just
this
a
is
bad
fine.
franchise.
This is fine. Everything's fine. No,
Ryan,
it's not.
If you had to give us prediction for the game, who are you taking?
Ooh, man. I gotta give it to the Rams. I'm gonna call this 35-20. I think that Matthew Stafford outslings Kyler Murray. And I think that Aaron Donald, because Aaron Donald in this defense, they just keep Kyler Murray on his toes. Kyler Murray's gonna be running all over the place. James Conner isn't going to get he's not going to get any real significant touches, and they're going to find a way to neutralize the threat that's Hopkins. They're going to find a way. So I'm saying the Rams are going to improve to 4-0.
I think I'm going to take I think I would take the Rams too, but I think the score would be a little bit closer because, you know, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, Kyler Murray, he's out there. He's just like, I feel like he's Russell Wilson on steroids, just playing that backyard football, scrambling around, just waiting for somebody to get open. Like he's sick. And I'd probably go closer to like 35, 32, 35, 34, something like that.
Okay. All right. So we're only about 2 scores apart.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't see this Rams defense. I mean, this Rams defense this Rams team, period, top to bottom, it's just so good. And they're in win now mode because they gave up so much to get Matt. They gave up a good bit to get Stafford into LA. So I don't know. We'll see. This is going to probably be, granted, I understand that Tampa Bay, New England is the marquee game because of the storyline, but this game here is the best game in football this Sunday.
Yeah, probably.
And this game should be the Sunday night game.
I will say that, you know, one thing that, like, one of the best things about Kyler Murray, and I mean, as far as this Rams defense is concerned, you know, Aaron Donald is always going to be the focal point as long as he suits up in that LA uniform. I think
Aaron Donald, if with one arm, is better than a majority of the defensive linemen in the league with 2.
You're not wrong. That being said, though, I think Kyler Murray, he gives you a benefit where he can kind of, you're not gonna take him out of the game completely, but he can kind of neutralize some of Aaron Donald's effect just because of his ability to move the pocket, get away from pressure, and just his pure, just natural ability to scramble is just, it's insane. So I think he can neutralize a little bit. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, he's the great equalizer, you know, playing cornerback. So I mean, he could probably cover up, DeAndre Hopkins, pretty. I don't want to say
For a
easy,
time.
but yeah, I mean,
For a
Hopkins,
time.
his catch radius, his ability to just go up and get the ball is so good. It's like there's only so much Ramsey can do just by being in good position. So
Yeah, and the one thing I'll say about Kyler Murray, he reminds me a lot of a young Randall Cunningham, but with better accuracy.
yeah, definitely a better thrower of the football than Randall. But I mean, running ability is concerned. Yeah, I mean,
Kyler Murray
that's the
is
thing,
the
too.
quarterback.
If he wanted to take off like Lamar does, Kyler Murray could absolutely take off like Lamar does. But
And that was actually going to be my next point. Kyler Murray is a type of quarterback that you wish Lamar Jackson could be, that you wish Michael Vick could have been, because this is a kid who can run.
Right, and
He's
that's
a
why
passer.
that's why I said he's like Russell Wilson on steroids, because that's what Russell Wilson did when he came into the league. Could Russell Wilson run for 100 yards a game if he wanted to? Probably.
If he wanted to.
Yeah, if he wanted to, but he spends most of his time running around the backfield, trying to look, deep, and if he has to, he'll take off. But more often than not, he tries to just extend the play and find time to throw the ball downfield.
Real quick, let me sidetrack you on this.
Yeah.
Is Russell Wilson in Seattle next year? Because I think we all know that Aaron Rodgers is probably out of Green Bay next season. But is Russell Wilson still in Seattle next year?
I would probably just say yes, because I don't feel like Russell Wilson's the type of player that would come out and kind of force his way out of a team. I mean, obviously, like you said, Aaron Rodgers, he's got issues with the front office. He came out, when he returned to training camp, and he went down like a list of like 20 guys who was like, yeah, we had this guy and they let him go. He had this, like he's going back to like, oh yeah, they let Charles Woodson walk. Like, you're talking about Charles Woodson?
Charles Woodson retired.
Yeah, like hasn't been on the team for like 10 years, Charles Woodson?
Yeah,
So,
Charles Woodson retired. Charles Woodson was ready to hang it up. But I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, Clinton Dix. Is he even still on the team?
No, he's gone. I don't know where he's at.
Yeah.
He's not on the team anymore. But yeah, like I said, I don't think Russell Wilson's the kind of player that would try to force his way out. I mean, if they decided not to bring him back, which would be really
Insane.
fucking dumb on their part if they chose not to bring him back for any reason. But like I said, I don't think he's under contract. He's not the kind of guy that would be like, I'm out.
So then let me ask you this. Is Pete Carroll still the coach? Because he's starting to fall under the hot seat a little bit.
That, if it was me, I'll say this, I would probably think about moving on from Pete Carroll, because with the exception of, this year, they have done nothing to support Russell Wilson.
No, they have not.
Their offensive line is still garbage. They've gotten, they've done a little bit. They've got DK Metcalf in there. Tyler Lockett's not bad. They've upgraded their wide receivers, but their offensive line continues to be a terrible offensive line. And I mean, go back. How many times have we seen Seattle get bounced out of the playoffs because they refuse to let Russell Wilson be Russell Wilson and take the game into his hands? Like, they try to force, like, and I'm a big, I'm never going to say abandon the run game unless you absolutely have to, but they try to make the run game happen where the run game's just never going to happen. And it's like, you're down, 10 points in the fourth quarter and we're still trying to run the ball. Dude, it's Russell Wilson o'clock. Give him the ball and let him do his thing.
They're trying to make up for not running Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl.
Maybe, I don't know. But it's like, dude, at some point you have to realize Russell Wilson's your best player and you need to let him go out and just be Russell Wilson.
Let him be. What did the Beatles say? Let it be.
To their credit though, this year so far, Russell Wilson has been slinging the rock. To their credit, so far.
I mean, I definitely, they're 1-2. This is the one thing that I dislike about the first month of the season, is that we don't know what's what. a lot of the records are, even though I said before we started recording, I hate it when people make the comments and say a team is the worst team with that record. But at the same token, records right now are very deceptive. 1-2 Seahawks, that could all change.
Well, you're not wrong. And I mean, it's like, there how many teams so far has it been this year? Like, oh, this team comes like, so the Steelers, for example, they came out and week 1 they beat what's it called? They beat the Bills.
Buffalo.
Buffalo's a really good football team.
They really are.
Week 2, Buffalo comes out and they absolutely fucking hammer the Dolphins, and the Steelers they can't get right.
They laid an egg. They laid that egg against
who else?
Against the Raiders.
Who else? The Saints. They came out and they hammered Green Bay. And then week 2, they came out and, they kind of laid an egg against Carolina, who I think Carolina's probably going to be good this year. Well,
my God. Carolina is fantastic. Carolina, I am so pumped.
Before the McCaffrey injury, Carolina probably was going to be.
You know what, though? I mean, but here's.
They might be all right, but I don't know. I don't trust them without McCaffrey.
Honestly, I see them having a really, really tough time against Dallas this week. But this is going to be Sam Darnold's payback season. I hate Sam Darnold's going to start showing what's up.
I hate to say it, but yeah, Dallas is a pretty good football team.
They really are.
That being said, anything else you got on this game with LA?
No, I just think this is going to be a fun game. This is one of those games that you just got to sit back and watch. You got to sit, watch, and enjoy. And I'll tell you one thing, though. Whoever wins this game, their symbol stock is going to be exploding. That symbol stock is going to blow up.
Yep. So I'll go ahead and get into my game here. My first game, I should say. I mean, I don't even think we have to spend a whole lot of time on it, but this is a game that you can't do this show and not talk about it if you're previewing. Tom Brady's return to New England.
Oh, this is going to be...
I think if you look at the first 3 weeks of the season so far, what the product of NFL football that the Patriots have put on the field versus the product of football that the Buccaneers have placed on the field, I got to say, I feel like Tampa's got to hammer them. And I mean, obviously, there's always the Bill Belichick effect. If anybody knows how to stop Tom Brady, it's got to be that guy. Maybe he's calling up Eli Manning. They're going to suit him up for a game or two. I don't know. But, but the Buccaneers, they're a good football team. And they had some issues moving the ball against the Rams, who have a really good defense, but I don't see how New England's offense can keep up with Tampa Bay's offense.
They can't. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is going to run roughshod over the Patriots. And Tom Brady is going to absolutely humble Bill Belichick. And I'm not sad about that. I am not a Bill Belichick fan. I have despised Bill Belichick since he was the coach of the Cleveland Browns. I have disliked that man. That man is pompous. He's arrogant. He is just, he's a deuce demon. He really is. And Tom Brady, every year that he plays, I'm like, man, if the Steelers would have taken him instead of T. Martin, if the Steelers would have taken Tom Brady instead of T. Martin, if only the Steelers would have taken Tom Brady instead of T. Martin, oh my God.
You had 6 rounds to do it.
Yeah, I know. That's what pisses me off. T. Martin ain't been in the league in over 10 years. More than 10 years. Tom Brady has just made it work. And granted, I can't stand Antonio Brown. I don't like, honestly, I hope Antonio Brown doesn't get a single catch in this game, but who cares? Tom Brady's got everybody and their mom to throw to. And every single starter from Tampa Bay is back.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, it's funny that you said that because I saw something on, I think it was Facebook today. It was a meme. It was like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are looking like if someone just went and they bought a whole bunch of like Madden Ultimate Team They just spent a whole bunch of money for a Madden Ultimate Team. That's I mean,
that is
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. Leonard Fournette, not so much, I guess, during the regular season, but he had a good postseason last year.
Yeah, and Leonard Fournette he's a special kind of running back. He really is. Now, granted, his tires might be starting to come apart a little bit soon, which is always sad to see. You know, the running back position is such a difficult position to play in the NFL. Like, I don't think there's any position that is that much wear and tear on your body than running back. But Leonard Fournette, man, that guy, I remember when he was in Jacksonville and he would give the Steelers a hard time. But yeah, I'm sorry. Tampa Bay is winning this game like 45-0. Sorry, 45-10.
Okay, I was going to ask you for a prediction on the score.
45-10.
I'd
probably to the 40s.
I'd probably go like 30, probably go like 31-17.
Man, Tom Brady is going to run up this score. Bruce Arians is going to be like, what do you want to do, Tom? Tom's going to be like, I want to crush him. All right, do what you got to do. Tom Brady is going to put on a clinic. And now the thing is, though, that's not to say that Mac Jones is going to be ineffective. Mac Jones, he may not have the impressive physique and blah, 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 but Mac Jones, I think he's going to know the game. And he's probably going to be, I don't want to sit here and say he's going to be the next Tom Brady, but when Tom Brady first came into the league, he wasn't an impressive physical specimen.
I don't know. I think
I ain't saying he's gonna be Brady. I'm just saying he's gonna be good. He could be good.
Tampa Bay's, they've got a lot of good pieces on defense, but I think more than anything, they've got a couple good coordinators in Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich. Those guys were absolute fucking studs last year. Like, there's times where Byron Leftwich, his play call on the offensive side is like, it's just fucking immaculate. I don't know how those guys didn't get picked off somewhere in the NFL for a head coaching spot. Well,
I could tell you, but that's not what the focus of the show is. Well, Todd Bowles was a head coach.
I was going to say Todd Bowles was with the Jets. Maybe that's what's maybe stopping people there, but Byron Leftwich, he should have 100% been a head coach this year.
Well, again, I could tell you, but that's not the point of the show tonight.
Yeah,
both of them.
Well, I should kind of retract my statement. I know, but I'd like to not dwell on it.
We'd like to not go there.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same reason why Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's a fucking travesty. That's what it is.
It is. But no, Tampa Bay is gonna completely obliterate New England. Tom Brady is going to walk into Foxborough and go, yeah, this is still my house. And he's going to prove it. And all Mac Jones and them are going to be able to do is just look and watch a magician just do what he does best, which is completely and utterly, without a shadow of a doubt, pick defenses apart. That's what Tom Brady does. That's what Tom Brady's going to do. Point blank, period. Next.
Yeah, so did you have any comments, anything else for this last game or for this game here with the Bucks and the, because I think I said all that I have to say.
That was some great dignity they had in New England once.
Yeah. They I don't know. I think Bill Belichick, they need to take away personnel decisions from him because he has not been good to this roster.
Nope. No, he is not. And it's funny how that happens over a period of time. It really is. But, the thing is that I think that we're coming to an instance where the game in and of itself and the way they do things, a lot of it is passing Bill Belichick by. You can't talk to, you can't act toward people the way you did 20 years ago. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, think about I mean, Tom Brady's like prime example. Tom Brady, cleanest fucking cut guy in the world when he's with New England. Last year, wins a fucking Super Bowl. He's drunk as fuck, throwing the Lombardi between fucking boats and shit. Like, like that says it all, right? Like,
Yeah.
the guy's entire personality changed between two cities.
That's true. Well, you figure Bruce Arians he runs a more laid back ship. That's why Ben was pissed when Bruce Arians was gone as the offensive coordinator and they got Todd Haley. I mean, granted, Bruce Arians retired for a little bit and then he came out of retirement to coach Tampa Bay. But I mean, it's just a different culture.
So Brian, are you ready to run us into your second game, your second preview here?
I'm trying to decide which game I want to focus on because I know everyone's going to be expecting me to talk Steelers Packers, but I don't know if I want to give that low hanging fruit. But there's really no other games that are jumping out at me. I mean,
Brian, if you've ever seen this show, I'm sorry, Brandon, what'd you say?
So I was gonna say, you could do the Panthers and the Cowboys.
I was actually thinking about that. So you know what? I'm not gonna do Steelers Packers. I will do Panthers Cowboys. This is gonna be. I'll say
this. It's dealer's choice, but also keep in mind, watching the lead word, I talk about the Eagles more than any fucking team else that's in the league. So it's like I said, it's whatever you want, whatever boats your float.
Yeah, but see, I also don't want to. I mean, look, I'm a Steelers homer. I don't think I've ever been shy about that. But at the same token, I said on the Tandemonium Sports Show that this year I wanted to be a sports guy, not just a talking head. So I've got to go to games that aren't my favorite team. So let's talk about Carolina and Dallas for a second. Carolina and the resurgence of Sam Darnold. How badly is this Christian McCaffrey injury going to be? How badly is it going to cost them? Now, on NFL.com, they're projecting that the Cowboys are going to get it done against Carolina. Now, I would go there, but there's one main factor that I don't think that they're taking into account. Mike McCarthy is still the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And as long as Mike McCarthy is your quarterback, I don't know. I just don't know because Mike McCarthy doesn't have the best decision-making record in the world.
No, not at all.
So I'm actually gonna be. I'm expecting Sam Darnold is gonna have his toughest challenge so far this season. And honestly, I seriously think win, lose, or draw. I seriously think that Sam Darnold is going to show a lot of people, yeah, I'm really good at football. I think that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I was going to ask you this question a little bit later, but I think we've kind of gotten our hint already, Brandon, by the background that you threw up a couple times and just your direction into this particular line of questioning. But as much as I'd love to side with your team, the which appears to be the Carolina Panthers, I don't know. You could maybe be slow playing us or trying to pull the wool over.
Outside of that, I feel like this is a future playoff game that's happening right now. Like this could easily be the NFC title.
Not
NFC title game because the Cowboys are the Cowboys. They'll bounce out in the first round like they always do. But
and I don't think Carolina's quite there yet. They're going to have to show they're going to have the receiving core. Like Robbie Anderson is going to have to take his game to the next level to be that guy. This Carolina defense, they're unsung right now. They're sort of untested. But I mean, this could be one of the games where they start to really earn their stripes. You know, I'll say this: of these two teams, I am willing to say that Carolina is more likely to be giving, say, All right, so I've already essentially said that LA Tampa Bay is going to be the NFC Championship game. I'm willing to say that Carolina plays one of these teams, and it's a damn close game. A damn close game. Carolina is going to own, if they keep up doing what they're doing now, they are going to own that NFC South. It is theirs because you no longer have to worry about Drew Brees. And I don't see Tom Brady playing until his 50s. I give Tom Brady another 2 years max. Sam Darnold is going to own this division in the next 4 years.
You may not be wrong there. And Trey, again, who couldn't join us this week, he has been on the Carolina bandwagon hard this year. And I'm not gonna lie, I think Carolina, they've got a lot of good things going for them in the future. As far as this particular game, one thing that I'm just concerned about, and Brian, you kind of mentioned this before, talked about it, not mentioned, whatever. Dallas, and I hate fucking saying this as an Eagles fan, Dallas has a really fucking good team. Dak Prescott, maybe not the best quarterback, but he's above average. You can't say that he's not. Amari Cooper, that guy, he's open on every play. Every single play, Amari Cooper is open by at least four yards. CeeDee Lamb, another great wide receiver. Michael Gallup could probably be a starter on any team in the NFL, but because he's on the Cowboys, he's like their third string guy right now.
The only thing that worries me about Dallas is coaching. That's it.
You could maybe say that Pollard, at running back is eclipsing Zeke.
I love the fact that Zeke is starting to throw shade at people that bring Pollard up to him in that regard. I love that. It is so delicious. It is so delicious.
But part of their running back success, whether it's Zeke or Pollard, is their offensive line. Go back and watch the game on Monday night against the Eagles. And when they were running the ball, Zeke and Pollard, they were getting like 8 yards from the line of scrimmage before they were even touched on like every run play. And their defense, Leighton Vander Esch is a great linebacker. We saw Trayvon Diggs, pick six. I think a little bit of that was Devontae Smith fell. Probably doesn't get he might not pick that off if Devontae Smith doesn't fall over. But
yeah.
Their defense is really good. Their offense is really good. They're a really good team. Like you said, their problem is the coaching. That being said, without Christian McCaffrey, and Trey brought up a good point last week, losing Christian McCaffrey in game when you've been game planning to give him the ball probably 30 times a game or 30 times during the course of the game, losing him during the middle of the game is a little bit different, knowing he's not going to play, where you can kind of game plan around it. Still, that offense, whether you can game plan or not for it, it revolves heavily around Christian McCaffrey. If you go back to last year, Christian McCaffrey missed most of the season. Teddy Bridgewater right now in Buffalo, the teams that they played haven't been great. You're right. My bad. Denver. The teams that Denver has played so far this year, they haven't been great. They played the Jets, the Giants, and I forget the third team, but
that's just guaranteed.
At the same time,
those New York teams suck.
Right. At the same time, Denver is still 3-0. Teddy Bridgewater has looked fantastic through 3 weeks. He doesn't look like the same Teddy Bridgewater we saw last year without Christian McCaffrey. I'll tell you that. Whether you believe in Denver or not, he does not look the same as he was last year. So,
right.
We can see the effect that not having Christian McCaffrey has on this team. And you know what? Defensively, Carolina, they have players. They have Derek Brown. They've got, Hassan Reddick at linebacker. They've got guys.
They've got guys. But the thing is that Sam Darnold is also a much different caliber of a quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater. I'm a Teddy Bridgewater fan.
And
I am.
Right.
I love
You're
Teddy.
right. I would say Darnold is better than Bridgewater. But at the same token, as many guys that the Panthers have, Dallas has more guys.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Brian.
Dallas got the dude. Dallas got dudes.
They got guys, yeah. I don't know if you ever had this feeling playing high school ball, Brian, but you ever just watch the other team come off the bus and say, damn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
the
Dallas.
The one season
Dallas
of semi-pro ball I played. The season of semi-pro ball, yeah, I did that.
You watch Dallas come off the bus and you're like, damn.
Jesus. Let me tell you a story real quick. We had a scrimmage, okay? And we showed up at this field and there was like maybe 20 of us, there was 22 of us, you know? And then the other team shows up like 5, 10, 12 cars deep. Cars are full of people and they're sending in packages. Like different packages of players. We're the same defense on the field. And it's like basically the way the scrimmage went is that we did 10 plays on them off, defense was on for 10 plays and then we switch up. So we go on there and like the first 4, like they did a run and play 1st and 10 and we slowed them down. It was 2nd and 8. Second run and play they did, they gained another yard. So it's like 3rd and 7. Why did these guys come up with a whole new trips bunch? And I mean, they actually had a trips bunch package in there with totally different dudes. I'm like, the hell is going on?
That's Dallas.
Yeah.
And you know what?
They got dudes.
Mike McCarthy, as bad of a coach as he is, he can only do so much to slow this team down. So
he can only sabotage his own team, but so much.
Yeah, he can only hinder them so much. Brian,
but this is also.
Mike, go ahead.
Go finish your point because I was.
I was just gonna say if you had to give us a score for this game, what do you say?
This is a close one. Now, NFL.com has this 28-24 Dallas beats Carolina. I'm actually gonna call this 28-25. I think that Carolina
gets a safety.
I think they go. I think they they're doing their thing. I think when they score.
Well, no, you said 25, so I'm saying somebody's got to get a safety.
Well, I think they end up getting a 2-point conversion.
Oh, it's 2-point conversion.
Then they get a 2-point conversion, but Dallas just doesn't let go. This is a very close game. This is one of those games where there's a lot to learn from losing. And I think that this is a game where Carolina might drop this one, but they're a better team for it. And Sam Darnold dude, Sam Darnold's gonna be the Josh Allen of the NFC. He's gonna be the Josh Allen of the NFC.
I kind of agree with you there score-wise. I would probably say, 28-25, 24-21, something like that, close.
It's a close one.
Not super high scoring, but I think I think it's going to be something close like that.
Mm-hmm. So, question. So, you don't think that Dallas could just get outcoached? Because that's what I think. Like I
think Dallas can get outcoached, but the problem is that, like I said, the problem that I see with the Panthers right now, without having McCaffrey, is that there's just a lot of variables that aren't, there's a lot of guys that aren't as tested right now. Where some of Dallas's guys, they've done well in spite of bad coaching.
Yeah, Dallas has a bunch of dogs on their team, dude. Like Micah Parsons he's playing defensive end, and he hasn't played defensive end since high school, and he looks like a fucking stud. Like, and again, that's the guy I wanted the Eagles to draft, and I came out and I said it when we did the draft show. I said that I would prefer the Eagles to go defense over actually going offense because their team is just that bad. Unfortunately, Dallas trades up and they get Micah Parsons, but I think Dallas will get outcoached. But they
absolutely will. They will.
The talent for Dallas's talent is just so good. They will win in spite of Mike McCarthy.
But at the same token, giving the nod to Dallas, this is one of those times where it's like, but I could be wrong.
Right.
But
it's regular season Dallas too. Dallas always is good in the regular season.
Dallas always balls out. They've done that even back when I was a kid, except for the one Super Bowl the Super Bowl winning that they did in the early 90s and was capped off mid-90s. when they beat the Steelers in the mid 90s. But no, man, I think that Dallas is good in the regular season. They're not going to ball out against the Panthers, but could the Panthers eke this one out in somehow, some way? It's possible. It's very, very possible.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I just think that Dallas has too many guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible, but a little metaphor here. You know, when you're like, when it's like a real cloudy day, and then every once in a while, the sun kind of comes out from behind the clouds for a few seconds, and then the clouds come right back through. That's Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is a cloud on a cloudy day, and he's blocking out the sun, but every once in a while, that talent just outshines it.
It outshines it. Yep, exactly. But this is going to be a good game to watch. I think this is going to be one of those sleeper games where it's like, you know, you've got a couple of games that are on this schedule that are just real sexy, great games. And this one is just, it's going to be good. And it's probably not getting the credit that it should. That's just my thought.
No, I get it. We'll move on to our last game here, and then we'll wrap up the show. We'll wrap up the show with a little bit of Q&A for Brandon, kind of introduce him to the viewers. My last game here, I'm going to talk about the Raiders and the Chargers.
Okay.
I would like to take the Chargers here because I feel like the Chargers are kind of like Dallas, where they have a lot of talented players on their team. Mike Evans. Or not Mike Evans. I mean, what's his name? He's number 13. No, he's not. Keenan Allen. That was a bad.
Can't believe it's Keenan Allen.
Yeah, Keenan Allen. Mike Williams is having himself a career year so far. Obviously, we talked about Hubbard, earlier. Herbert, I mean.
Hoybit.
Derwin James on defense, Bosa also on, defensive end. They got a lot of talent. They've got
I hate Bosa. I cannot stand
both Bosas
Bosa
or just one Bosa?
I can't stand either one of those little shits. They both piss me off so much. They repulse me.
Yeah, they seem like they might be assholes, but you can't deny that they're talented.
Oh, they're talented players. They're just repulsive as human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, Colby Covington might be a good wrestler, but he's a repulsive piece of crap.
Yeah, that guy's a clown. But to get back on track,
Yeah.
The Chargers are a good team, and I'd like to take them here, but I feel like this is another one we kind of talked about Dallas being outcoached. And it's hard to say this for John Gruden because John Gruden has not really been that great.
John Gruden's a clown. John
Gruden is a coach that is stuck in his early 2000s, late 1990s ways. But I feel like after watching so far what we've seen from the Chargers and their coaching staff this year, I feel like he's going to outcoach this Chargers team. And Derek Carr, he's going to continue being a phenomenal quarterback. And again, Alex Chick, his one good take here with Vendetta is that Derek Carr is better than what people give him credit for. He's going to continue to ball. And I feel like the Raiders could sneak one out here where they probably should lose to this Chargers team.
I think that the Chargers shock the hell out of the Raiders. That don't mean that the Raiders aren't going to be good this season, but I think that the Chargers shock the hell out of them. And I'm actually going to go with the former San Diego Chargers. in this one.
See, I think right now the Raiders are playing above their pay grade, with the exception of Derek Carr. The Raiders are playing above their pay grade.
They are, but they're also coming off of a big loss on defense. And I think that's really going to affect them as a team. I really do.
I don't think it matters because, to be fair, their team defensively has not been great. It's Derek Carr. He's willing them to victory in these games.
He absolutely is. But the thing is, if you end up having to deal with an injury to one of your top defensive players, it's gonna hurt. It's going to hurt. It's gonna hurt you. It's gonna really suck for them. And I really do believe that that's gonna be sort of the deciding factor. I think that's what's gonna do it in this one. I think, like, granted now, and you can't say like, well, one person doth not a defense make. Nope. See the Pittsburgh Steelers defense without TJ Watt. It's not the same team.
But you also have to remember too, LA, they're home this game. Their home games are fucking trash. If you look at week 2 when they played Dallas,
aren't they still waiting on their stadium to get built?
I mean, maybe, but they're still in LA. No, they're playing. Their stadium's built.
Oh, okay.
They opened it this year because they played Dallas in LA.
Okay.
And there was more Dallas fans than there was more Dallas fans there than there was Chargers fans.
Damn.
They have zero home field advantage. and there's enough Raiders holdouts in LA from when the Raiders long ago were the LA Raiders. Well, long ago before they were the LA Raiders the third time. There's enough Raiders holdouts in LA where I mean there's like no home field advantage for the Chargers here.
Yeah, but did anyone in LA even notice when teams come and go? Do they even notice?
Probably not, but I can't remember his name for the life of me. And Brandon, if you could look it up for me. The Chargers head coach, I before the season when me and Trey did our division previews, I said you cannot possibly be worse than Anthony Lynn.
Wow.
You couldn't do it. I would have swore up and down it was impossible. After watching him coach this team, all the fucking back-breaking penalties, 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks. They did it against Dallas and they did it last week. 2 weeks in a row, the Chargers had go-ahead touchdowns called off of the board because of penalty. Brandon Staley, I don't know what he's got going on over there, but he's not doing something right. And thank you, Brandon, for looking that up for me. Something's wrong with just something he's doing over there in LA. And when they played Dallas, by the way, it wasn't just the go-ahead score that got called off because of a penalty. They actually had a touchdown earlier in the game in like the second or third quarter that got called back because of penalty as well. So I cannot. Brandon Staley, congratulations. Somehow you managed to be worse than fucking Anthony Lynn. I don't know how you did it, but I don't know. You did it.
Because he's related to Deuce Staley.
I don't think so. Dude, don't hate on Deuce Staley. Deuce Staley's a fucking legend.
Yeah, okay. He came to Pittsburgh and was absolute garbage.
Well, I mean, when he came to Pittsburgh, he was like old.
I don't care. He wasn't that old. They brought him in to start above Jerome Bettis, and it's like, yeah, we're just gonna put Jerome Bettis back, and you're gonna go away now. Deuce, yeah, his name was Deuce for a reason.
Because he dropped 2 touchdowns every game.
Because he was shit.
Any comments, or what would you give us for a score of this game, Brian? If you had to.
I mean, Justin Herbert can't count out the former rookie of the year, and the guy has some big, tough, strong wideouts. As much as I'm not a big fan of Bosa, he's the man when it comes to being on this defensive line. He's always disrupting. I'm gonna say 21-17 Chargers.
I think there's gonna be more touchdowns than that. I think you got to go like 38-28 Raiders. Right. 38-28 Raiders.
Okay. All right. I mean, here's the thing though. Part of me, I want to be wrong about this because I want Derek Carr to blow up this defense so that everyone that sits there and trash talks David Carr has to finally start saying good stuff about him.
David's his brother.
Well, what did I say?
You said David.
I meant Derek.
Yeah,
I still feel bad for David.
David was throwing the ball to Andre Johnson.
Dude, David Carr should have been so much better. But the problem is that he went to the expansion Houston Texans that had no offensive line. And the poor guy got his bell rung to the point.
Yeah,
you might as well
he was shell shocked.
You might as well put him in Starship Troopers without any armor. He probably would have survived a lot.
He was like that guy that in Starship Troopers that got shot during the training.
During the training exercise, yeah.
Something's wrong with my helmet. Something's wrong with my helmet.
Take it off. Let me look. Doink. Yep.
Sorry, David.
Sorry, David Carr. I should have made you keep your helmet on. I'm pretty stoked. I just got Ace Levy for the Starship Troopers line for the Funko Pops. I got the limited edition John Rico one before they announced the full-on Starship Troopers line.
Ace,
so
Ace was that was his
Busey.
I was gonna say
that was his best. That was his homie in Basic. That was his buddy in Boot. Played by the massively large-toothed Jake Busey.
Yeah.
Dude, Jake Busey got more teeth than the Dallas Cowboy got dudes.
So now that we're done our previews, Brian, or reviews, previews, I should say. Anything else before I kind of let go with the, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Interrogation of Brandon to introduce him to the viewers.
Poor freaking, you know what? I feel bad for Ben Roethlisberger. Like I wonder if he's even going to make it to the end of the season in one piece. Because this man is taking hits like his name is Cam Newton.
Well, did you see the video last week where he was trying to throw the ball on the run and he fell over? And they were like, he has the mobility of a tree.
Yep. That's the same guy that was just improv and everything and yet launching the ball downfield with a laser. Now the dude just sort of does this little Minister Glenn from Letterkenny half run and then just oh boy. Ben Roethlisberger. Whew. Important Najee Harris too, having to run behind this line. That poor guy's freaking wheels are gonna fall off before his fourth year if they don't put an actual offensive line in front of him.
Well, they could make it work. I mean, like you said, if they could, they've got time. He's a young kid. They could get somebody in front of him to block. Problem
is though, with because take it from a former running back. Once your knee starts to give you issues, you're not the same runner.
Oh. Well, yeah,
you're just not.
I've jacked my knee up so much during wrestling. You don't even have to explain knee injuries to me.
Yeah. So but my whole point behind that is this kid. He tries to move he moves the pile. He's strong enough to move the pile. Problem is that your muscles can only do that, but so much.
Yeah.
And he's having to move that pile with no help.
I'm not even going to talk about the Eagles this week. They're just beyond repair and just beyond help. Everything is bad.
Watching them play is Jalen Hurts. And I'm not even an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
It hurts to watch.
So now we're going to put Brandon on the hot seat. Just a couple questions here to
because he hasn't even, like, Brandon, do you know about the now you're an intern, correct?
Yeah.
So are you aware of the intern assignment?
The assignment that I have.
Yeah, the intern assignment that you have to do. That is an HR assignment. That is not a. It's not a. Oh, when you get to it, it's no. You got to get this done. It's in the intern chat. Basically, you got to watch an episode of That's Some Cheese with Trey and special guest Josh Taylor. The links in the intern chat and Slack. I'll send it to you again.
Okay.
And it comes with a quiz. And me and Krieg will get together with you once you finish the quiz.
Okay.
Not hard. And you get 90 minutes on your timesheet for it.
Okay, cool.
Not going to keep us here too long, just because
looking
at the time.
Not at all.
We've definitely been recording for at least an hour. So
yeah, I'm getting tired. I need to have my early bird special tomorrow.
So Brandon, I was going to ask you what your favorite team is, but we can see that it's
already
the
know
Carolina
that.
Panthers. We've already covered that.
Are you sure? I thought it was going to be the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, no.
So Brandon, real quick, tell us a little bit about yourself. If any hobbies, where you're going to school, stuff like that.
Sure. So I am a recent grad of Brooklyn College, CUNY. In terms of hobbies, I played football all through high school. I also played I played on like some semi-pro in the 5-star football league that's out in like New York City. I played for the Queens Vikings, and I also boxed as well, and I'm like the amateur circuit as well. So
what's your weight class?
132. So
okay.
What position in football?
You
gotta be DB. You said 132. You gotta be DB.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like my natural weight is like 150, but I fight at like 132, sometimes 123.
Damn, you cut down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I try to cut down because like I'm huge. Like at 123, like I'm huge. So I always try to cut down for that.
Well, 150 probably. I was right though, right? DB still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I always fought at heavyweight, but now, I mean, I'm still at heavyweight, but I'm a very light heavyweight. I went from a super heavyweight to I'm just at the cusp of being a light heavyweight.
Okay.
I wrestled heavyweight in college, so bunch of heavyweights. Well, me and Brian are heavyweights.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm only about 15 pounds away from being able to cut down to light heavyweight, like the upper end light heavyweight.
Okay, so you're like at 200 right now.
I'm at 223 now, so I'm still at heavyweight. But if I could cut down to 200, and I'll be right at that heavy end of light heavy.
So I'm sorry, Brandon. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, huge. I'm like football fan. Panthers fan for a long time because of Steve Smith. Because being like the little guy, Steve Smith, that's like the ultimate little guy.
Yeah.
So that's who I like looked up to a lot. Like huge fight fan. You come to me for all your fight stuff. Like Wilder Fury next week. Like that is Judgment Day. So like you can follow me on Twitter. Like it's my first and last name. You can get I'm like a lot of updates on the games on Sundays and also the fights on Saturday.
Nice. One last question, Brandon. This is a question I've asked every single one of our producers since Bridget left us. And we talked about this last week. The lead word is cursed. Hopefully, Brandon, you're the producer that breaks the curse, because we haven't had a steady producer since Bridget left. But if you had the choice,
she was on my show too.
Yeah. If you had the choice, Brandon, between fighting one 100-year-old or 101-year-olds, what would you choose?
What the hell?
I don't even know what kind of question that is.
Neither do I. Jesus Christ.
I guess one 100-year-old.
Dude, you're a monster.
Well, that's what I said.
Like, you're evil. Why would you want to fight a 100-year-old person? You hit them and their whole body is just gonna crumble.
Well, maybe.
I mean, it's one fight.
At least a 1-year-old is malleable. Don't ask me how I know this.
Well, so I'll if you want to elaborate, Brandon, I'll let you, but I'll tell you why I chose the same thing that you did. I said I'd rather fight the 101-year-olds. You got to think about it. One, it's probably a better workout, right?
Yeah.
Two, I feel like it would be easier because you can kind of just pop them real quick and it's over. Three, if you're fighting that 100-year-old, I feel it's really disrespectful because he's probably a World War II vet. So I'm beating up somebody that fought Hitler, and I just couldn't get down with that. That's just I couldn't do it.
Hey, but on the flip side, it could be a Nazi too.
Well, see, that's different. I'm okay with whooping the shit out of a Nazi.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that. I figured I was fighting an American. Maybe Brandon's like,
eat my ass, Red Skull.
I didn't think about it from that direction. Yeah, maybe he could be a Nazi. I just kind of always figured it was an American dude I was fighting. Anything else, you guys?
Great.
Closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Jon Jones is a piece of shit.
I concur.
And that sucks, man, because I was a big Jon Jones fan for a lot of years. I thought that the guy was he was an amazing fighter, but it's like, wow, you suck, buddy.
Well, the crazy thing about that is my uncle actually met Jon Jones. He went to Arizona a couple years back. He met him. He said he's a real nice guy, but I mean,
yeah, but he hits
maybe
women.
not.
Yeah, he hits women. That's not okay by any. That doesn't work for me or for Carl Carlson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's clear at this point that Jon Jones is a scumbag. Like, I don't know how you have that many chances and you're still just like a scumbag. Like,
yeah, how do you keep screwing up like that? Like, I don't get it.
He's a real bro. You know, like he's a guy's guy. But it's like outside the gym, like he's a dick. So like he's a guy's guy. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm sure, like you said, he's probably like my uncle said, he probably puts on that nice guy front, but in reality, he's just a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about accurate. That sounds pretty accurate to me, man.
So, all that being said, like I said, we've been going for at least an hour, probably a lot more at this point. Now, one thing I want to do is I want to offer this to you, Brian. You don't have to, but I will offer it. Couple days ago in the Slack, Krieger said that I was a real pro because I always got out all the follows and all the sponsors and everything when doing the closing.
Yeah.
But Brian, I learned that from watching you. So I want to give you the opportunity, if you so choose. Do you want to close us out?
You know what? I mean, sure. I'll go through. Like, I'm a little bit foggy headed because it's been a long day. But I will say I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Definitely want to give some love to Symbol. Go to symbol.app/vendetta. And when you go into Symbol for your very, very, very first deposit, if you use our promo code Vendetta, you will get $10 on top of your first deposit of $10 or more. So you can start buying your stock in your favorite sim teams. If you like football, basketball, or baseball, that's what you need to do. If you want to do the fantasy sports without the fantasy team update. Special shout out and some love going out to Monkey Knife Fight. Go to monkeyknifefight.com and use our promo code, once again, Vendetta. And for your first up to $100, they will match you dollar for dollar. You want to go in, you get. They got stuff for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be college football all day. Go in there and start placing your bets. Unfortunately, me and Chad can't do anything about it because we live in Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania won't let us. So.
You live in Pennsylvania. I live in New Jersey. I'm just wearing the Penn State shirt.
Oh, right. That's right. You are in New Jersey. And I keep forgetting that the Statue of Liberty refuses to look at you. I totally forgot. My bad. But Chad, make sure you check out monkeyknifefight.com. You can also download the app, but and don't try to use a VPN to get around it because they're pretty smart over there. Make sure you give some love. Go to xpcoffeecompany.com. The coffee made for gamers by gamers. Please do not forget to check out our live podcast that broadcasts on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/Vendetta Sports Media. You can catch my show, the Tandemonium Sports Show, every Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by the Fantasy Show and the Q&A with Uncle Trey. And what am I missing? Don't tell me. I know I'm missing something. Make sure you go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media. Make sure you get into our tiers there to help us continue to grow and evolve to be the best sports media group on the interwebs today.
Honestly, Brian, like I said before, a true professional, you hit most of it. Just a couple things I'm going to pick up from. Passing the baton. We go do the relay here. If you're watching the video on YouTube, if you're not watching the video on YouTube, fuck it, go over there. And subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the fucking bell so you can get notifications when we post new videos. Because we got a lot of shit going on. We got, all of our game videos that go up, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, all of our podcasts go up there. If you're, like and subscribe, like us and follow us on all your favorite social medias. Facebook, you can like us. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Vendetta_media Twitter. And then we also have podcast_Vendetta as well. You can follow me at Lowfooted. Brian, I know your personal Twitter is
at Brian Tan Author.
Yep.
Or you can follow the Tandemonium Sports Show at Tandemonium VSM
for literally 100 tweets about the Steelers on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm always live tweeting the Steeler games because, well, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Brandon, I don't know your Twitter handle, so if you want to go ahead and just drop that now, you can.
Yes, so Brandon Wright, BRANDYN, and then I'm Wright, like the verb, right? That's for all my social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram as well. So you should follow me on that.
All right. Well, that being said, can't really hold y'all any longer because, like I said, we've already been at least an hour at this point. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you.